Yo, what up, family?
What up?
That looks sick. That's an amazing idea.
Thank you, man. This is actually a clip of a show me and Jay was doing.
Bro, where was that? Where was that?
This was at Made in America.
Okay.
If you see, Jay is in the middle of the stage. He has on a black hoodie.
Yeah, I see him.
I'm behind him, literally.
Oh, I know where you're at, bro. I know where we're always at.
We invite everybody on stage.
That's dope. You know, I think that was something that great, like that Pac and Biggie used to always do, is bring some people in, especially in a bigger show. You lose that because usually only people do that in a club.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. That was probably one of the wildest times that we brought people on the stage because it was so easy for them to get on stage. Almost a quarter of the people came up.
Security was cool. Security was cool with that, huh?
Hell no.
I didn't think so.
They were bugging. They stopped the show. They turned off our mics. It was too many people back there in my area. So many people that the table collapsed, and it was people actually literally holding it up. And I remember Jay looked at me. He looked at me like this.
That's dope, bro.
Hey, I think that it's too many people. I'm like,
never too many people.
How we gonna get them off now? They cut our mics off.
Yeah, no, of course. And then no one wants to leave, and people try to sneak backstage. And
yeah, it was fun. It was really fun, very fun.
But those are the classic thing. That's where your grandchildren's grandchildren will see that. You're like, yo, granddaddy was dope.
I know. That's
also too, like when I'm on stage and we do stuff like that's when I get like goosebumps, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's
that's where the goosebumps come.
That look over the crowd, that sea of people, like to me, that feel all that love and that energy, like that. There's really no substitute for that.
Nah, not at all. Yeah, it's just a one of a kind thing where like you have to do it to experience. You know, it's crazy. But what's up with you, man? How you been?
Good, bro. You know, I mean, it's just life. Life is a trip these days, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's real crazy. I don't know. You know,
I definitely think that this time has kind of brought the fangs out on everyone. You know, everyone's in just ultimate survival mode, and everyone is showing their true colors. I really think in a way it was almost good because you kind of just see what it is, and people are really letting go on who they are and what they believe and what they really feel is important moving forward and what they want to represent and what they want to be remembered for and what side of history they're going to be on. And
true. Crazy.
You know, I don't think anyone 5 years ago would have been like, hey, where do you vision yourself in 5 years? I don't think not that many people would have said this.
Not even last year. You give or take December. Nobody was thinking about, you know, like if you asked me in December where I was going to be July or August 1st, you know, July, August, man, I had a lot of plans. You know?
We were talking about it. You were like, yo, I'm going back out. You were coming back out here to see me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great. This is dope. You know, you guys got the new album.
I had a lot of plans. And it's like, I mean, it's cool because, you know, you got to take the best part of everything, you know, and the best part of what's going on right now is you being connected to the people you love. You know, like I've never had this type of time to stay at home and actually just bond with my family, my children, my wife, you know, my dad. You know, they, even though like they had us scared to see our parents and stuff for a while, but it was just like, you know, hey, it was a stress, but it was a different type of stress. It wasn't a stress of you know, just everyday mediocre redundancy, you know. it was like, okay, this is a different type of stress, but hey, I'm home. I'm good. We got food, chilling. We staying in, it's all right. Just be to yourself, kind of lay low.
Well, I definitely think that's the truth, man, is that I kind of got to that point now these days where I'm like, hey, because this is the thing, man. I have homies around the world, and you travel the world. Just because something horrible and like, it's really hitting the fan other places doesn't mean that it can't change in a blink of an eye like that here.
No.
And as long as we have fresh water and we have food and we are, like you said, like at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, there are the rare relationships where you meet people that are newer in your life that you all of a sudden feel the connection, and that's fam bam for the rest of your life because they'll just never do you wrong for the rest of your life.
Right.
But generally, on the flip side, it is your family.
Yeah.
And then that's the weird thing too, is because family sometimes too could be a very complicated subject, especially where some of our families where we come from and what we were trying to get away from or what
Absolutely.
we're trying to fix and trying to fix those. But hey, everyone I know that, especially with their kids, there ain't no love like that. There ain't no love like mom and dad. There ain't no love like, and I think you do meet some people on the way that do become family too. And that's the most beautiful thing. But generally it's only family when you have the problems that still stick around and stuff. Generally, most other people, they just leave when there's a problem. And
right.
Especially in today's generation, people are just so generally look at things just like the new iPhone. It's always upgradable. It's always disposable. It's a lot more easy not to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think this, like you said, this COVID thing has just kind of got us back to roots, which to me, I've always been a very Bob type roots type person where it's like, hey, because I've seen both ends, man. I've seen bottom of the bottom and top of the top. And at the end of the day, if you're not healthy or if the world ain't, it don't matter. I mean, you could have $500 million in the bank. If you can't get out of bed because you're so sick, it don't really. And I've seen people in that position, and it's just like, really lately, it's just like just a day where I feel good and I'm back to, with this stuff I love, that's what I really been trying to do with the music and the art is that I started making music and I started doing this because I just loved it. And it was just me. And I wanted to make stuff that even if I didn't listen to it, I mean, if I didn't make it, I would still listen to it. And that just trying to be the dopest. And that was the motive, that B-boy kind of like, all right, I'll go up on anyone and this is us.
Right.
Like, this is our set. This is where we're at. This is what we do, like, and then also it just be something that we go out and enjoy and feels special to play and we're endeared to it because, I think that's the biggest thing about art. For it to be timeless, it has to be something that makes people relate and it has to come from your soul, man.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing when I saw, you doing it, like you always have a smile on your face when you're on stage. You always got such good energy, bro. And that's really rare in the business, man. And also the humility. It's like, I know I've ran into everyone's DJ and 99% of the time, it's always rock star. Hey, I'm just too cool to even acknowledge someone. And even if you're at their level, people are just weird. And just the integrity you've always brought towards me and the sincerity and the authenticity for, once again, I think you just do this hip hop because you love hip hop. And regardless whether you were making money or not,
I'm gonna do it.
You do it, because this is you. This is the heart, and just figure it out. And that's where I've been kind of at right these days, is just trying to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. I feel you.
So what about you? So now that obviously the tour and everything is on postpone. You know, have you been working on beats at home? Have you been working?
I've been working on beats. I've been doing mixes for radio. I've been doing like, you know, stuff like that here and there, local parties, graduations. I'm doing like a graduation tomorrow for my cousin, you know. um, yeah. I'm doing some drops, some radio stuff, some beats. Trying to stay busy, like it's convenient, like I find myself, just being productive in any way, to be honest with you, That's like I
And
just gotta
do
stay
you
busy.
have any kind of ETA on when when is the label saying you guys might be possibly getting back on the road and doing all that?
No, I haven't heard anything, to be honest with
Nothing, right? No one knows.
you. No one knows anything. Like they say in 2021, but like when? Like, and you're saying 2021, I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening until something happens with this virus, you know.
And
Something
I
got to
also think
happen.
what happens with this election, how
True.
this really
Yeah.
transpires with this election is really
Yeah.
going to set the tone of what is next for everyone and everything, because obviously however that plays out has way too different
Yeah. Yeah.
directions, either the countries.
Man. And it's like, I mean, it's everything. Everybody's lives are changing right now. Like, are my kids going to school? My wife's a principal. Like, is she going to work? Is she got to stay home? Do I, if everything comes back together, of course, everything will be fine. But other than that, man, lives are just changing right now. It's just you always got to adapt to everything, and it's not always necessarily something that's bad, Like a change, everything's going to change. Nothing stays the same ever, everything changes. So right now we're just going into a change. Eventually it'll be back to what we called normal. But right now this is the normal, And it's been normal for
I
like this for like
definitely
6. It's been 6 months now, Like what was it? March, April, May, June, July, about 5 months, August would be like the 5th month that we've been going through this,
yeah, and I have a feeling that it will never
go back to that way, huh?
be the same for what it is. Although that sounds amazing, in my heart of hearts, I do not see that happening. I mean, hey, prove me wrong. I would love for the youth to see what we've experienced, because I mean, imagine being 18 right now and that, or 21, and that this is, you've never gone out and this is what as
Yeah.
never seeing a real crowd, never really seeing a real festival, sea of people, because it's just things aren't like that now.
Yeah. And imagine being 18, 19, and you have to now be on your own, and no one could give you advice because nobody's been through this. Nobody
No
can
one's
say
been
this
through
is how you
this.
have to do right now because nobody nobody knows what's about to happen. I couldn't give somebody advice and say, oh yeah, go get your place and get a nice job. Nah, man, really stay secure. Like, stay with your parents if you need to, man, but just stay secure because you don't know where this is going.
Yeah,
You
and
don't want to
really,
move somewhere and you can't barely pay the rent and you can't get food. Now you're in a bad situation. Like don't do that to yourself.
yeah, and there's definitely, I've said this many times, I'll say it again. The only people that are really okay with this right now are the people that are the top tier, had money saved up, and could take a sabbatical for a year off.
Right.
And 98% of the people that I know in life, 99,
Yeah.
are not in that position. In fact, they need to work
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck, day to day. And how and where they're getting that money and what is really the reality of, I mean, come on, you understand. People who make their money by being in places and working. And I say that goes across the board because I know people that are even doctors that they're not allowing to see, like dentists, they're not allowing to see patients normally and stuff. It's a very limited, supposedly. So even them, they're having a fourth of their income, what they're normally used to making. And look at everyone, look at all these businesses just tanking out. I mean, I've seen, I don't know about over by you, but a lot of the venues by me, like the local venues that were for live music, they all closed down. They've all put up for sale signs. They're done.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we had a huge movie theater here that's been open maybe for about 20 years. I mean, it was top of the line, modern, and it's closed down, man. It's completely shut down. Shut it down. It's like, small businesses, like, people who have stores, and it's like, oh man, they didn't make it. I know a friend of mine who owns this like Jamaican restaurant, really nice, man. I was so disappointed to see today that it was closed, and I'm like, man, he can't survive this, like
No,
he's, it's like, what is he gonna do, what are people doing, like entrepreneurs are having a hard time because everything's shut down and you can't make any money. And these landlords and these, people, they're going to be collecting. They want to collect their bills. I mean, it's a chain. It's like a chain reaction, They need their money. You need your money. You need to, you're the bottom of the totem pole. You have to make these sales or whatever you're doing. You have to work, So it's like, sorry.
And that definitely seems to be the mentality of like, if you're not willing to figure it out, we'll find someone else who does. And anyone that isn't in line with the protocol of whoever is making those decisions, it's a Tori Hanzo, man.
Yeah.
Straight Kill Bill. Just take it right out because
cut him off.
But hey, I mean, come on, you work with Rockefeller. Jay-Z's been known to be a frugal businessman. When bottom line comes up and it's all about the budget and it's all about the numbers and it's all about making a business decision, not a personal decision.
Yeah.
That's when it just comes down and that's
when things start to change.
And I would also say historically, people are barbaric and people
like you said, man, survival mode right now. Everybody's on like a survival mentality,
Yeah, and I think that's really hard in a lot of ways because you see I'm part Jewish, and you see what's going on right now, and you see what's going on culturally for where we are with civil rights and what is acceptable and what is just considered basic human rights and respect.
Yeah.
That it's going back to this line of like, either we're going to progress as a society and show love and equity and be articulate and truly look at the truth of the situation, or it's gonna
get bad, and we don't know
bad.
Bad means.
I mean, obviously you
haven't seen bad yet,
Exactly, and that's the thing, and especially like I have friends that live in Iran. I have students that are from Russia, from China.
Yeah.
these places where there's a lot of realities that I think, that's the hard part is that you talk about the people from these places, all great people, but the government's very scary and what they're capable. And now that was one thing that they always looked to me is America, no matter how flawed, was still a beacon of light in a lot of ways for people trying to escape. And then a social experiment for people who are already here, thinking we're making a lot of progression in a lot of ways. And now
in reality,
we're kind of at this cusp of like, okay, authoritarianism and
it's here, man. Like they got the feds, they got the federal agents here, walking around, in regular clothes. I was looking for my nephew at a protest. I saw him on the news and he was speaking, and I'm like, oh, my nephew's down there, so let me go see if he's okay. So I go down there, and in the midst, I was kind of like, observing. I was a observer. A lot of people were observers down there. You had people who were protesting, you had the police, and you had a lot of observers looking to say, okay, what's really going on here? So I'm looking for my nephew, and I come across this guy. He has a postal, a white T-shirt, U.S. postal hat on, blue jeans. And he's like, you from here? And I'm like, yeah, I'm from here. He's like, you're not from here. I'm like, from here, man. Like, why would I be down here if I wasn't from here? But it was weird. He was asking me that, and I'm like, why are you asking me? He's like,
Well, it's probably because he was a federal agent and he was trying to see if you were someone that was coming into town to what they consider cause ruckus or.
Listen, he explained that to me. He says, man, I'm a federal agent. he said it straight like that. I'm a federal agent. And I looked at him kind of like, yeah, right. Like, you're lying. And he's like, yeah, man, I was just, I'm down here just observing, just like you.
He wasn't observing, bro. He was observing, but he was taking notes. Yeah. But that, I mean,
that's crazy.
And that's the thing too, man, is that I've been around a lot of protests in the last couple of months here because I live in South Central, and I live in South Central Los Angeles, South LA, and we are on, and it's just the dynamic of the protests that I see is literally one side of the parallel to the other. I mean, one side is this peaceful attempt to be civil with the cops and the community and community leaders and extending the olive branch and not trying to demonize any side and trying to find accountability and a bipartisan negotiation to find a solution. And then on the flip side, a couple of blocks away, it looks like World War III already.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, like literally just people, it just looks like something out of Mad Max. And I'm very conflicted how I feel about it and stuff, because I've always been a big believer of that. One of the reasons I'm there with everyone is because if it could happen today, it could happen to anyone in a second. The second you're ever complacent in accepting an injustice with anything on any side, with anyone worldwide, anyway, any person, any situation, any demographic, the next thing that could be, it's very personal to me. And then it's just, I think people feel helpless now to find a solution. What is the solution? Is there a peaceful solution that we could come together and figure this out? And come together as a society. And then there's the other side where I see where people don't care anymore. They're just hurt and they're just over it, and they just feel the injustice is so bad that nothing could ever make it right.
Yeah, it is true. A lot of people are just hurt, you know, like, and they're taking the first opportunity to lash out, you know. But I will say, there are some people who are what I say are antagonizers.
Of course.
That are coming from different areas to Detroit. I mean, I'm just observing. So
of course. And then a lot of it is like what I see is it's these alt-right groups, the KKK, these white power groups that are going there and they're causing anarchy. And then, you know, everything from putting on masks with people to try and pretend like they're black to just covering all up and doing stuff. And also too, there's been a lot of evidence that there are agent provocateurs out there that are from the cops or whatever that are going in there smashing out windows and then trying to make it look like that peaceful people are doing bad stuff, which is, see, like that's the biggest problem with me, is that everyone that for me that doesn't know me that's coming at me is like, oh, well, you're on this radical tip. And I'm like, wait a minute, have you been at the protests that I'm involved in and stuff? Like, wait a minute, I'm there with pastors, I'm there with the cops, I'm there with community leaders, I'm there with politicians, I'm there with every type of person trying to find a solution. I don't believe in anarchy. I don't believe. Now, do I believe in people defending themselves? For sure. Do I believe that if someone is trying to put an injustice, that there's been many things that were legal that were wrong that you need to speak up and fight against?
Yeah.
But this demonization of, and that's the hardest part too, is that, you know, you see just a demonization of everyone and everything, that it's just people have so much anger and animosity and hatred towards each other. It's really sad, because I really think that we're all in this together and we really got to figure it out, man, because if we don't find some scientific, articulate, equitable solutions ASAP, sadly predictable. I mean,
yeah. And the thing is, it's like, I mean, it's like the person who should be trying to come to a conclusion with this is like completely oblivious, or I don't want to say oblivious, but just really don't care about really what's going on, you know? Like the president. Like, I mean, I don't know. As a president, you should step in at some time and say, like, hey, listen, this is going too far. You know, having like agents come out and just like fight fire with fires. This country is gonna go to shit fast like that, you know. It's gonna be a lot of people in bad positions on each side, you know. That's like definitely not the way to go. And if somebody with some type of competence doesn't step in and say something or do something, it's like, man, we're just gonna eventually continue to burn. Like, you see what's going on in Portland? Like, it's crazy.
My friends just went up there and stuff to document it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
there's nothing like that's happening here in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff like that's happening in Portland. It's like, damn.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely some revolutionary type stuff. And I mean, as far as Trump, I think that's a very multifaceted topic, because one, I have this discussion with a lot of people that I know that are Trump supporters. Mm-hmm. If you look at the videos of what he is doing at these speeches, mm-hmm. he does say it. He will go and say, oh, well, this George Floyd thing was wrong. But the difference is what is the equitable action behind it, or the policy, or the sincerity behind the action of, see, that's my biggest problem, is that because, and I would say that this is a politician period, bro. They will say they will say stuff, and they just, the substance behind it. And if you look at that characteristic, I would even say society wise, Trump is symptomatic of a large part of our population that is very comfortable with saying anything to anyone to get whatever they want, with not being concerned. They're just a hustler. They're just playing off of people's emotions to take advantage of their kindness and stuff, and no sincerity of the things that what they're saying as far as follow through, unless it falls under what they consider okay and what they consider righteous. Because the things that he considered important, he did win it. Getting the tax cuts for people that are in his circle, he figured it out. It was important to him. Empowering the people that he considers his base, and supporting them. He obviously, it's very, very, very sad, because I would like to not demonize that part of the population, or people or supporters. It's just very difficult for me at times, because you, like you said, you're looking for greatness, you're looking for support, you're looking for a leader. It's just like with Representative John Lewis passing, someone who's enough of a person to get past it, go there, extend the olive branch, see this voting act that he was proposing, and get it passed, because he believes in, see, but that's the problem, bro, is that it's a different set of rules these days. I mean, look at our Attorney General, William Barr. Look at what happened with Trump in his indictment. Like, there is not a level of accountability that's been there before, and obviously they feel that they are getting away with it. And if I this is the point I've been saying to a lot of people, what makes them even would want to stop if they've been getting away with it? Well, I grew up around a lot of gangsters.
Yeah.
A gangster that gets the power is ever going to let go of that power, and let alone,
like,
America, come on, man. The interior, the military industrial complex.
What's crazy, man, Trump says if he loses the election, he's not leaving the office.
Even if he loses, you're saying you don't think he's going to leave?
That's what he said. He said, even if I lose, I'm not leaving.
Did he say that the other day?
Yeah, I'm like, how?
Did he literally say that? I heard something to that effect, but did you actually vet the quote? Did
verbatim, but it was something on that.
It was that vibe.
No. He said it like,
he insinuated like, hey,
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere, win or lose. like, okay, like, what do you mean by that? Like, I'm not leaving this office. Like, they have the force. Well, what are you talking about? Like, where are you going with this?
Well, I mean,
but the thing is, he's been getting away with everything else. Like,
you're old enough to remember what happened with George Bush with W in Florida, and voting and elections, and come on, look at the voter suppression that's been going on even in the primaries right now, and what they're trying to do. And even me going to go vote for the primaries for stuff was a nightmare.
Yeah. They're definitely trying to make it hard. You know, it's crazy. We're living in some really crazy times where everything's coming to like everything's just being unveiled. Because something like this, like I know people who wouldn't believe that people would do stuff like this. And it drives me crazy when somebody said, why would they do something like that? What makes you think they'll do something like that? And it's like, where have you been?
Look at history.
Like, yeah, like what? Why? What did they do to you that makes you so blind to what's going on?
Well, it goes back to people in the situational circumstance and perspective.
It's crazy.
We're at a pivotal point in history, and people, I think, just need to live their life to the fullest every day. And one thing for me is just been trying to be true to the universe, being honest with myself and honest with other people, and just being not holding back anything, man. And just, there's no reason for me to lie to these people. There's no reason for me to ever be disrespected, and finding that value. I think that's really important right now, is that people just need to start valuing themselves, valuing their families, valuing the blessings that they do have, because this obviously shows that it could all change in a second.
And a blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye, fam, man. Here, I want to. All right, so in Equality Radio, generally I pop up some pictures, and then I let the person talk about it, see what their vibe is.
Okay.
See what they say. So how you feel about that? Sound good?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see here. Alrighty.
Oh, wow. It's crazy.
All right.
Wow.
What's that?
That's me and my sister.
Okay.
That's me and my sister. My dad is a photographer. And he took this picture, back in the day, like I was born in 82. So I was maybe 1 or 2 years old. And they had like the wicker chairs, the wicker that every I don't want to say black family had a picture of the family with the wicker chair, but it's almost like, you ever seen that picture with I think it's Huey P. Newton. He's in the wicker chair, sitting down. Like my dad had.
It's iconic. It's like the plastic on the couch or something. It's just there's certain things that were just real. Like, I'm from an Italian family. There's just certain things that were.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, and that's the picture. Like, that's the chair we were sitting in. He took a picture of me and my sister. I was happy he gave me a cookie.
Right.
Things in life. It's crazy, man. It's a crazy picture.
Definitely. All right, so let's keep it moving. Boom.
Oh, man. It's a throwback pic. Like, if you see, man, I've been doing this for a long time. I was DJing at like some event. And it's funny because my dad took that picture because it was like a family event. I had to be maybe 14. I started DJing when I was 11. So by the time
11, you started DJing when you were 11.
I was 11.
On direct drive turntables or old belt ones?
Oh, belt ones.
Belt ones, actually, right?
No. Those were direct drive. I did have direct drive.
Okay, so you did have direct drive. Now, were you scratching out the gate? Were you trying to scratch out the gate like with?
No, they weren't Geminis, man. Scratching on these Geminis. The platter wasn't stable enough,
Right.
So, but let me tell you what I did was, so I had a belt drive. Then eventually I did get a 1200. And I was scratched with that one. And then eventually I had to get another 12, you know. But yeah, that was a picture of me, man, when I was about 14, DJing at a family event, you know, just doing my thing, man. I had crates, man. I used to carry about, at that time, I probably had maybe 5 crates of records.
Do you remember the first hip hop record that you bought?
Absolutely.
What's the first hip hop record you bought?
I bought Biggie, Juicy.
Juicy.
It was a maxi single. Yeah, Juicy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
With him, with the hat and everything.
Yeah.
Ted.
That was the first one I bought. Then after that one was like Outkast, you know. And then it was like Nas, and then I was just getting the Wu-Tang. It was just I went into a binge, you know, just collecting. I don't know if you ever heard DJ House Shoes.
Okay, yes, I have.
Yeah, that's like a good friend of mine. He used to work at a record store that was right down the street from me. And it's called Street Corner Music. I used to go there. Shoes used to like, point me to the direction. I used to go pick out everything I want, all the stuff I had enough money for at least. Go home and I would dissect the music. You know, I would sit in the basement hours and hours and hours, man, just listening to the music, you know, not even really like trying to blend or scratch or nothing. I was just like listening, you know, like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this shit, you know. And it wasn't until like around that age where I'm like, okay, I gotta blend this stuff. And Detroit DJs, let me just give you like Detroit DJs, the radio DJs, man, they were like super talented, you know, like, you know, they're
talking about beat juggling and beat matching and stuff
on live radio, you know, so I could turn on the radio and I'm hearing it like, and I'm trying to think like, fuck, how do you do that?
How are they getting their cuts like that?
Yeah, how do you get that cut in the pocket like that?
Right.
Then you blended it like this. I'm like, man, this is crazy. You know?
I needed instrumental. I needed acapella, and even if I had 4 takes, I don't know if I would get it down in the pocket.
I need the single, the regular album, and 2 of each. You know.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, once and I start really just figuring it out. Like, okay, I do need doubles. So I start getting doubles of stuff and like trying to put routines together, you know, here and there. Beat juggling, you know, my scratches wasn't up to par, but I'm like, oh, I can figure out this beat juggling thing. It's all about.
And it was different then back then because we didn't have the waveforms for the
man. You were
so you literally by ear.
You could do it with your eyes closed. That's how like you do it. Like I used to practice with my eyes closed.
Exactly right. It was so much of a different feel in it. And then putting the little dots on the record so you know really where to go and to cut in, and then
people have no clue.
And then I was talking about this with Qbert the other day.
Yeah.
We used to have like 20 crates of records, and sometimes it would be up like 5 flights of stairs, a half a block away, and we would have to have just the crew.
Yeah.
And then when it's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, having to bring those crates back.
Yeah, you had to have a crew. I used to have a crew. And it was, you know, they were enthused, you know, like because they know I was the DJ. And
right.
The DJ came with perks.
Of course.
You know, I wasn't really like a drinker like that, but they used to give us drinks, you know, like they used to let me do whatever, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, you should let me do whatever. Like,
hey, I always say, man.
Yeah, and my crew was like, it was a large crew. So when we came, we were half of the party. So it was like people liked. That's where I got a lot of business from. Like, okay, yeah, he's gonna come with people, you know. And I came with people because I had 20 crates, 2 turntables, a mixer, the cases, and I had callus on my hands, bleeding. My knuckles was bleeding from digging in these crates.
Right.
You know, fingers all bloody, knuckles. I mean, you know, at the end of the night, after 4 hours of DJing, it's like, man, I'm standing on my feet. Now I gotta load my truck up. I mean, it's been times where I've pulled up to the house and just passed out. Like I didn't even get out the car. I fell asleep in the car, woke up sweating, hot as hell in the car, had to unload the equipment, you know.
Well, isn't that the beautiful thing as we got older? If we was a big enough gig, the venue was right there, or then I would just try to make sure we get a place that was like real close there, so you could just, especially if there's a hotel real close, you know, that's always been the gauge for me. Like, how far are we going?
Yeah.
And if not, I need my room. I need to be able to go there, get early, get in, get out. Because I ain't traveling back no 3-4 hours after no gig anymore.
No, never. Can't do that.
You know,
especially not carrying all this equipment.
Yeah, well, transportation and per diem, that definitely changed a lot.
Yeah.
Deposits, getting half of that money up front. I ain't getting the other half until I'm not even walking on stage till we had that other half.
Oh, man.
I mean, I remember my first 3 years of DJing. I must have had $5,000 of the people, you know, like promoters. Oh yeah, you know, I'll pay you at the end of the night, and it was always just some story at the end of the night. Just that's that look at the end of the night, and you're like, wait a minute, this place was packed all night. What do you, that bartender got the money.
Man, the party's looking like all those people on stage. You're like, no, you got paid. You got the money right now.
That was one of my favorite stories. So I did this show with Jizza from Wu-Tang, and we did this gig, and it was down by the beach, and the venue, they just didn't know how to promote stuff. So, I mean, Jizza was playing with Cypress Hill, with DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill. They were doing a collaboration album. So normally they're used to having promoters that really knew what they were doing.
Right.
And so the place was just dead. I mean, like, you know, it was half, you know, not even, I would say, a fourth of the way filled for the show.
Damn.
But still, they got up, rocked it. Like, if there was 500,000 people there, they did a great job. So at the end of the night, Jizz is sitting there. We're all, you know, I DJ'd that night, so we're all breaking down, and I was there with Muggs, and DJ Muggs was actually really down to earth and cool, and Jizza did a great job. He still did a, you know, totally lyrical, true MC, just held it down. And so I knew this venue, and I knew they were going to try and gas him on the money. So we're all sitting there. It's 2-3 o'clock in the morning. The venue's, you know, it's done now. And I think he's supposed to get like 10 racks or something. And they come with like a G or two or so. They're like, oh, well, you know, it was a hard night, blah, 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 blah. He looks at them, and like with 4 of his homies, like he looks at 4 of his homies and just goes, yo, check this out. Me and my friends and my girl are going to go sit at that table. I guarantee you there's a safe upstairs that has the money for my show in there, because that's what you guys were obligated under contract. When I got here, whether you guys had sold out the place or you had 2 people here, I was ready to do my thing. Now it's time for you guys to do your thing. Go get my money. I'm going to go sit at that table. I ain't leaving. And literally, they had to go upstairs and figure it out, because they figured out real quick that he wasn't going to leave unless he got his money. And
yes.
Because it's like, I ain't having it. I came out here from New York. Y'all trying to be funny. But that was their thing, you know, this funny business. And like, to me, I'm a big believer in legacy and reputation. And I would never want to be known for funny business. Like, I always want to be known for that integrity and that reliability, and word is, I mean, to a fault, to me, his word is bond. Like, yo, if I say something,
your word is bond. Yeah.
Hell or high water, I'm there to a fault.
If I said I was gonna be there, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be there.
And just that whole entire process, man, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting. The game.
Yeah. It's crazy.
How the game be sometimes. All right. What?
Oh, yeah.
All right. This good, sir.
Oh, man, that was a fun tour. Nobody Smiling tour. That's what tour we went on with Common. It was dope. It was fun, man. Common's people is really cool. You know, DJ.
I always thought Common was one of the best MCs ever,
Man,
bro. Like truly,
yeah,
one of the most lyrical. I mean, that's that song "Finding Forever."
man, crazy.
I just listened to that over and over, like this. Then when he has his dad talk,
Man,
that sample of him and his dad talking, like,
yeah,
I can't even tell you how many mornings or days that I've just played that, just like as the anthem, just like, yo, bro.
one of my favorite Common albums was like that Electric Circus too, man. I used to love to see him perform that. You know, and of course, one of my favorite producers is Jay Dilla, and he fucking laced Common with that. You know, on that album was crazy. You know, just that was like one of those albums that you just listen to over and over again. And it was parts of the song where it's like, man, I gotta run that back. That's just sweet, you know.
Yeah.
Beat, everything about it was just crazy.
Now on that tour, it looked like there was a bunch of dates there. What would you say was the most memorable spot that on that tour where you were just like, or how about this for this question? Where internationally traveling, would you just say you were just blown away by the crowd, blown away by just the experience more? Was there any extraordinary place or
Anywhere in my whole career or
yeah, in your whole career, even outside of that tours particularly?
well,
Like was there, oh, well, we went and played Wembley Stadium and that was just a sea of people I've never, or something like that.
you know, man, I've been doing it for a while, man. Like I've been on Rock the Bells tours, and man, those were like those crowds were just the energy. It wasn't like, I've been on tours with DJing with Royce too, and it's got like 100,000 people where it's like you don't see the end of the people, and so that's crazy. But the energy of seeing like these Rock the Bells tours, man, like I really wish they like could do that again, man. Cause
Yeah, well, Chang and Gorilla Union and DMA, they
man, those days.
I know those guys for years, and they had a strong push. It wasn't until that last tour where they brought Rock the Bells to New York and they lost all that money, and then
then it kind of just stopped.
well, they Gorilla Union, they're tied in with Nas and with that Mass Appeal thing that they're doing. They do a lot of stuff with Mass Appeal.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew the guys that were doing Chang and all them, the Gorilla Union. The Gorilla Union is the one people that because they threw a series of stuff. They also used to do a show called Pay Dues.
Yeah, we was on Paid Dues.
All that stuff.
We actually were on the road. We were on a Rock the Bells tour, and
which one was that? That was with who? Because I mean, they had ones with. I mean, every time it was an all-star list.
Yeah, we did one where Mos Def was like headlining Black Star.
I've done shows with Mos Def. Now, Mos Def was one of the nicest guys I've ever met in hip hop.
Yeah, Mos Def is like one of the coolest people.
I actually would like. It's like me in hip hop. One of the hardest things or in music is meeting one of the people that I love listening to their music and them just being very rude or just disingenuous or just rock star. And when I met Mos Def, we did the New Danger record release party for my brother Q Boy for Jamaica Gold and for Heads for Dreads. And Mos is the type of person to actually look you in the eye, whether it's the janitor or the or the CEO, treats everyone with respect. He was very engaged, which to me was such a rarity, to find in the business. He was actually and for me, that song, do you ever hear that song Priority he did?
Yeah.
So my homeboy that I grew up with, his boy did that track.
Oh, wow.
He produced that track for him. And that was always like, I have it on my mixtape and everything. That's one of the lyrics in that, God before everything, peace before everything, love before everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Mos is very dynamic, man. He's one of the, and people don't always mention his name, but he's definitely one of the top MCs ever lived. You
Yeah.
know?
His show, I've heard, has changed a lot now that he's Yasmin Bey and stuff and everything, right? I hear that he's doing a little bit more of an abstract show these days. He starts off with like dancing over flowers and
I've
but
seen his show change.
have you ever seen any of the movies that he was in? Like did you ever see that where he played the first doctor ever to perform a heart surgery?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Bro.
What's it called?
I don't know what it's called, but he plays the first doctor to ever invent the heart surgery. And it's just one of the most mind-blowing performances you ever seen in your life. It's just like, this guy is just, he's a genius. He's a genius, man, with his art. I mean, his catalog, sincerity, the authenticity of his art form, like you said, man, I mean.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, Rock the Bells, man. In fact, okay. So when I see you, I got a present for you, man.
Okay. All right.
I have so much Rock the Bells stuff.
Oh wow.
Because my friend used to do all the merch for them.
Oh,
so
crazy.
I have like the limited edition X hat for the 10th anniversary. I have which they did, was crazy because they changed it for each town, the colors of it. Like when they're in LA, they were Dodger blue. When they're in San Francisco, they were, the orange for the Giants. When they're in and then
let me tell you, most had us like kind of laced out because you know how they change the colors,
right?
Every city. Our credential, most people have a little flyer that you put around your neck, right?
Right.
Most definitely gave us Nixon watches.
Gave you what?
Nixon watches, right? Like Nixon, the watch.
Okay.
We got a different color Nixon watch.
Oh, Nixon watch.
Yeah.
So what was it, like a thing that they get sponsored, or is just he just got some?
Yeah. Most had some type of sponsorship. Every city we went to.
Okay. And they were a Guerrilla Union watch, or it was just a Nixon watch?
It was just a Nixon watch.
Okay, that's cool.
It might have had sometimes they said something in it. So
nice.
Had a nice little diamond, but
what?
Get a black
just
one.
Like, wow, here's the sick guy.
Next city we get a purple one. Next city we get, it's like, damn. Like, I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy.
See, I grew up in the music business, man, and like I have just been I love swag. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like memorabilia, rock memorabilia, hip hop memorabilia, just this music memorabilia, man. This like, whoa.
Yeah.
I got this robe from Michael Jackson's 88 tour that he only get. So I have these two things. I have one is Michael made up leather executive bags for the executive team, and he made up with the shoes and the icon, the glittery shoe, like
doing the
and then a European red robe that he gave to the so I mean, bro, they're
that's crazy.
30 years old. My uncle worked for him, so he gave me those when I was a kid, and I've just always kept them because
that's crazy.
I was always a big fan of Michael. My earliest memories were going to Michael shows and seeing him perform on stage and being backstage with him. And
oh wow, that's crazy.
So it's like literally my earliest memory is being backstage just with Michael by himself and him coming. I was watching him so I was in one of those hangars on the side of the stage, watching him dance, and he falls through the bottom of the stage and then pops up in an elevator right behind me in the tunnel and pops out. And Michael I was, a kid. I was 8, 9 years old. And Michael just looks huge. And he looks at me and he's like, hi. And he shakes my hand real quick. And then he just runs out on stage. And I was just like, wow. That energy from the crowd. I was like, I want to do this, man. That's just so beautiful, man. That's just, Michael was such a big inspiration. Michael, James Brown. I mean, I'm just the biggest James Brown fan, bro. I still to this day, man, just I have so much James Brown stuff and just always dip through that type of thing. Just anything James Brown, man. Did you see the James Brown movie?
Oh, I know. Who played James Brown?
The guy who played in Black Panther. The lead actor in Black Panther played James Brown.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Bro, it's amazing.
I've never seen that.
It's amazing. Okay.
Oh, you check that out.
Do you remember this?
I think that was on the Common Tour right there.
No, actually, this was
where
when you came to LA to come see me.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's the Troubadour. That's the Troubadour.
Yeah, okay.
That was right before he hopped in the crowd.
Yeah. That was fun, man.
I actually opened up for DMC from Run DMC at that place right before you. It's a nice little venue. I like that place.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah. When was this? This was the night at the Rock Nation. It was a Rock Nation event. Jay, everybody was there, as you can see. It was like a filming. Jay-Z did like a show on Tidal. Do you remember that? When Tidal kind of first came out, Jay-Z did like a live show on Tidal, and that was the show. He brought Jay out. He brought everybody out. See, he brought everybody out. He brought everybody that had anything to do with Rockefeller Records, Rock Nation. Mm-hmm. They were there. It was crazy.
Now, do you remember? So Jay-Z has a bunch of. Do you remember who he was hype man for?
Who Jay-Z was hype man for? I don't know. Who was he hype man for?
He was Biggie's. He was Big and Small's original hype man.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, yeah, you know what? I think I did. I do remember that way back in the day. That's crazy.
He used to back up Biggie back in the day, man.
Wow.
That was when he was a
few schnickens, yeah.
Oh, please, the best, bro. I'm from New York originally. I think there was two MCs three MCs that people would always talk. It'd be either Rakim, Jay, or Guru from Gangstar. What do you remember Gangstar?
Oh yeah.
His name was Keith too. I mean, I always thought that Guru, Gangstar, Premier. See that's I like, especially when I work with people like on an MC DJ thing. I always look at them like, hey, Gangstar style. We're here as a team. I don't want to just be your DJ. I want to be the other half of the act here, or supporting you.
Yeah, exactly. Same here with me.
Exactly.
I'm not just playing the song and chilling, drinking Kool-Aid in the back. I'm the other half of the show,
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing with you guys is that I always see him give you credit and shout you out during the show and use you as a foundation, where most MCs like him in that position will just have someone just play an instrumental and they'll run out and they don't want to cut it into their check or have to deal with it. So the fact that he respects the essence of hip hop and especially you, because you're so good with the crowd, bro. I mean, you get so engaged with the crowd and you're so comfortable up there and having fun. I mean,
thank you, man.
So how did you guys meet? What was what was the evolution of that?
I met Jay. I used to work at Guitar Center in Detroit.
Okay.
And one of my really close friends was like Jay's close friend. And he used to be like, hey man, my friend from New Orleans is coming up. He's gonna stay with me out here in the studio. I want you to meet him. You know what I mean? I was going to the studio doing scratches on his beats and stuff like that. So I go up, meet him, oh, what's up? Name Dree, what's up? And I was younger, you know what I mean? I was maybe 20, 21, 20, I was young, and
And this is long before he had any type of thing going with Rockefeller or anything.
Oh, yeah. Way before all of this, you know. And man, JF stayed here in Detroit for a year, 6 months, you know. He was just, you know, a close friend. And I remember he used to always tell me, like, yo, TJ, you know, actually, he used to tell me, like, you know, I'm a I'm gonna need you one day, you know, stuff like that. And
The vision, he had the vision.
yeah, he had,
And he wanted you there, which is, it's nothing more special when someone wants you there.
yeah. And so, but at the time, so you know, Jay disappears, you know, and that's what Jay does. He'll disappear, you know, and be like, oh, okay, you know, I'll ask how Jay been, you know, through Johnny, and oh, he's good, you know, he's doing good, he's coming back, you know. But then one day, Johnny hit me. I was working at this time. I was working at Sprint. You know, I was just kind of, you know, I had like jobs here and there, DJing on the side.
However the hustle is to make it work,
Yeah.
bro. I always tell people, I don't care what your hustle is. You get out there and you work, don't matter. It's all part of the plan to get here.
Yeah. So Johnny's like, yo, TJ, Jay need a DJ, and I want you to be his DJ, you know. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, when? He's like, he's going on the road. And I'm like, okay, when? He said Friday. And it was like Monday.
Like 4 days. And I'm talking, is he talking about like on the road, like you need your passport?
Rock the bells.
Oh.
Rock the bells. It was in the States. I didn't need my passport at the time, but it was rock the bells.
Straight GU style.
Yeah. So it was like I had to tell my boss. I'm like, hey, I got an opportunity to go on the road, you know, like really go on the road. And she's like, oh, that's great. You know, she knows a DJ, you know, she knows me. And she was like, cool, yeah, you could go. And I'm like, okay, cool. She's like, when? I said, Friday. And she said, oh, okay. How long you be gone? I said, about 6 months. And she's like,
she did the ooh.
She's like, I can't do that with this short of time, you know. So
you had a choice.
I had a choice. I told Johnny, I'm like, yo, Johnny, man, I don't know if I can get off. So they started looking for other people and stuff, right? You know. So yeah. So Johnny, like, man, TJ, you got to do this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay. So I haven't told my boss, like, oh yeah, I'm out yet. I haven't told her yet.
Oh, so you're just cutting out. You've made the decision, but
I went and hollered at Jay and Johnny, and you know, they was, you know, like, you know, we need you. So I'm like, okay, I'm with it, you know. And I went back like, hey, yeah, I'm leaving Friday, you know. And that Friday, everything happened so fast. Like that Friday, I quit my job. I also moved out of my apartment and put all my stuff in storage. I packed up. I mean, it was just time. I was moving anyway. So I looked at it like, oh man, it's a big change happening right now. You know, I quit my job, I put my stuff in storage, and I graduated. I went to broadcasting school, and I graduated all that in that 1 week. And that next Friday was our first show in Chicago. And I was there, and I was like, wow.
Chi-Town.
Man, I was like, damn, that happened fast. And from there on, man.
Traveling band, you've been on the road now.
That was like 2005, 2006.
15 years. So you've basically been traveling for the last 15 years now.
Yeah. And this is like the first time I've had time to sit down like this. I was like, wow, this is the first time I actually haven't been out, you know? And it feels cool. I feel like it was like a like much needed kind of break, you know, but I'm ready to definitely get back, you know, like I'm ready to get back to it, but you know, who knows when that's going to be, but I'm still going to, you know, nothing's going to stop me, you know, like it's just who I am. It's in my blood, man. I'm going to be DJing forever. When I'm turning 120, still spinning, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, there definitely been not being able to do live shows for the last 6 months has definitely been messing with me big time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, for me, it's a way different situation than being on a world tour like you were going on. But even just my local gigs,
yeah, I've been doing a lot of local gigs. I'm talking baby showers. You know, and people are shocked to see me. They're like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, man.
showing the love, bringing it back to the. Hey, you know what they say? Never forget where you came from, because one day you might just have to go back.
Yeah, yeah. Like people really like walked in like whoa,
like whoa. Crazy. Let's see here.
Let's see here.
All right, so it's a couple different subjects. See what you think.
Whoa, what the fuck is that, bro? No way. Is this real?
This is real. So people now try and just throw a show.
That's rough.
Like that. What do you think?
And those bubbles?
People were in bubbles, bro. Like literally, like, I mean, have you seen a lot of the layouts for these new schools? This, that. I mean, that would be a trip for me, going to a show and seeing that separated from people in a way. I mean, it's kind of novel for one time, funny maybe, but that would be.
I mean, it'd be a trip if they're like, yo, DJ inside this bubble.
That I could deal with. That could be fun, especially if there's some animations in it and we had some projections.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I couldn't imagine that. Can't imagine it.
I mean, the Chainsmokers just got in a lot of trouble because they did a show over the weekend and they didn't enforce the social distancing. And I heard that they're having issues with it, legal issues.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Can't do that. I mean, I definitely wouldn't do that. You know, regardless, you know, like just if you think this is a fake thing, then like.
Then you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
Here you go. All right. Next thing.
Wow, that's
what crazy. Do you think of that?
That's crazy. 3%. You mean to tell me they couldn't just take out 3? You know, and okay, let's say this. Let's say 3% of the military spending. Now, okay, I know we have the best military in the world. But if 3% could stop all starvation, why are we spending that much money in military? You know?
I mean, it's and if whether it's looked at in the military or just the accumulated wealth. You know, I was listening to someone make a post about this on Twitter the other day. They're like, hey, if I had Jeff Bezos's money, wouldn't I just be going around each day being like, oh my gosh, look at downtown LA. I'll clean that all up today. Okay. Hey, look at this country with all these sick people. Here you go. I got the money on the hospital, because it wouldn't matter. Even if they spent 250 million, $1 billion, even if they spent $500 billion, they'd still have enough money that they couldn't spend in 500 lifetimes.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And that's the hardest part, because I'm not like a socialist in that sense. I'm definitely a capitalist. I don't believe that anyone should take anything from anyone, or there should be a limit, but that it's going back to that paradox of what you said. People can't understand why people, well, I can, because that's been going on since the beginning of time. People have power. They don't want to let go of it, and they're willing to do whatever to hold on to it. And they're not personally going through it, so they don't feel it's their problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not my problem. Well, damn, man.
And that's such a hard one, because I think that it does affect all of us, you know? I mean,
absolutely.
So, next thing. What do you think about this?
Wow. That's something.
So,
proposed swapping Columbus Day. That'll cause a lot of problems, though. Like,
you think that it would cause a lot of problems if they made Juneteenth a holiday?
Well, I thought that said swapping. Like independence, like
No.
oh,
Did
okay,
it?
okay.
No. First of all, I wouldn't think
Yeah.
that taking away 4th of July. I think that you can't take away that. I guess okay, but I guess that is. How about this? I think that is the argument. A lot of people have been having that argument of, oh, well, 4th of July or. And to me, that wouldn't be an argument. Like I've never thought about taking away 4th of July. I was saying acknowledging Juneteenth as
yeah. Now that's cool.
that's cool to me. Like I think that would be insane trying to take away 4th of July. Like I wouldn't even understand. But although I understand the resentment for anyone who wants to make the articulate point and go, well, not everyone was free, and that was a crime against humanity. And for whatever it's worth, there's no way, whether it was hundreds crime against humanity, there was a crime against humanity that day, not everyone was free. And that is why I think they need to make Juneteenth a holiday, is to acknowledge. See, I think that's the hardest thing with most of these issues. People are just looking for acknowledgement. You know, it's like, hey, yeah, this is happening. We got the video. There's no debatable scientifically.
It's nothing to debate about.
There's nothing to debate about.
Like a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it because then they have to take accountability for something.
And I also think there's a big part of the population that's very much into gaslighting, bro, that they know what the truth is.
Yeah.
But they're purposely denying it just to get a rouse out of someone because they're purposely trying to upset people.
Yeah.
It's like online. I'm a very big believer and sometimes like, yo, why are you even engaging with these people online? Because half of them are bots. The other half are just looking to be an internet gangster and just say some stuff that they know. It's like I see people all the time. They're like presenting all this factual evidence to these people that have these contrary opinions, but it's not like any factual argument. And how about this? I'm around both sides of it. It's not like the other people don't believe that what they believe is not factual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy.
It's very hard, I think, because a lot of my friends, you know, they just look at me and they're just like, how could this not make you crazy? You know, and I think in the face of injustice, that's the hardest part, is that not wanting revenge, you know?
Yeah.
Here we go. So right before he died, he said, people can change, people can change. I always love what Trevor Noah would say, is that he wants to take someone who's racist and show them the truth and not just but I grew up in the hood in a lot of ways, man. A lot of times I say, well, people don't change, you know, people only get emboldened in their actions.
And I believe the caption, people can,
people
it
can.
takes the willingness to want to. People don't want to change, you know. They're comfortable, they're content. They like you said, nobody wants to, like say Jeff Bezos. He doesn't want to give up his money to help. Why? He doesn't want to. Like, why would I lose my power for other people? Then I wouldn't be who I am. Or why would I, you know? But it's like,
everybody wants.
yeah. Like, come on. It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing. They all have, you know, this Alexander the Great type
mentality. Yeah.
Let's move on to the next town. Let's move on to the next town. But
when in reality, you can.
I was having with my dad, you know,
that starvation, and man, you'd be the man if you did that. Like, you think you're the man now? Stop starvation. See how people look at you. Like, yeah, that's big.
So many things, bro.
Like
so many things that I guess that's my biggest part. My biggest disappointment too sometimes is that there's so much. Hey, that was my resentment towards Obama for a little bit, because Obama was so young and articulate. And before there was any of these nominees, I was looking at him. I'm like, yo, find someone that's young and co-sign on him and just lead the way. You have so much power right now. And if you go out, you are a Harvard constitutional law professor. Go out and vet the best, most articulate minds that we have here in America, and let's find the most qualified person for the job.
Yeah.
Not some, I loved a lot of things that Bernie was saying, but he older guy.
Yeah, I like the stuff he was saying too, but it was also like you just can't say stuff sometimes. You have to show it. Like you have to put a plan together, like don't just say I'm gonna do this. And he said very smart things, but it's like, man, nobody's gonna vote for you, but if you like say it like that, like you get good votes from the people, the liberal people who like you and like stuff like that, but like, man, you're gonna lose every time if you like don't change the way you play the game a little bit.
Yeah, the whole entire thing with the terminology and just a lot of it, though, man. I mean,
I saw that not happening so far along. Like, man, come on, Bernie. Like, people do want you. The way you're going at it is very old fashioned.
Well, I definitely think that people feel that they're at a point with very limited options right now. Is that Hillary was a flawed candidate. Hillary was a very, very, very flawed candidate. And now you have Biden, who's a very, very, very flawed candidate. And will I'll tell you this, for just none of us know what's going to happen, but I would definitely say the momentum behind him is not emulate of what it felt like as Obama was coming into the home stretch for the last 100 days, or even I went to go see Pete Buttigieg talk, Mayor Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different energy, guy in his young 50s, speaks 7 languages, Rhodes Scholar. You could, his whole entire inner circle, you could see he has a lot of diversity in his the young people. Yeah. I was with his whole entire team. They're all young. They're all our, and listening to him speak for 2 hours, it's just the cognitive responses are just way different.
Yeah, true.
And as I've said this many times,
the cognitive.
You can't blame Joe Biden for having anyone at that age would. You can't blame Donald Trump for being that age and having these issues. Anyone at those ages will have these issues. But why as us as a society have we not amended the Constitution to put a cap on it of saying like, hey, after 70 years old,
you can't
do this. Just like in an office place, after 65, unless it's your own company that you run,
you can't.
That's not how it works, because that's not, and that was the thing that I think is so important for us as society. I've said this before, I'll say it again. For us to move forward, we need to start giving the glory to the scientists, to the engineers, to the educators, people like your wife, the principals, the people, the doctors, the philanthropists, the people that are the articulate scientific minds that are going to find the equitable solutions for us to move forward as a society.
Yeah.
Because unless it's fair for everyone, and unless it's a 2 + 2 = 4 answer with the science. I mean, that's the one thing with engineers that I love about engineers. It has to be about the truth, because if it isn't the truth, the rocket isn't going to land on the planet. It isn't. Yeah. You can feel any way you want, but there's a certain science about how it's going to go through the atmosphere. Yeah. And if you don't
know it, it's going to blow up. Yeah.
That's where I feel right now, is that you have all this injustice. You have all this inequality in so many aspects of stuff. Unless we fix it, there's no good solution then for it. You can't get a good seed out of it, you know?
Nah, it's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah.
So that's one thing is that I've been working with this thing called Wolfpack, and it's to add an amendment to the Constitution that will get the money out of politics, that will get the dark money out of politics. And I think that's really important, is that for us to have a fair and free elections here in America, we really need to have free and, fair elections here that show where these people are getting their financing from. Because as long as anytime you give, it's like being in the hood and leaving your front door open. If you're going to be that stupid, okay, like, you can't do that. You have to have certain checks and balances, or it'll never be okay.
Right. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah, I mean, with ourselves, even with ourselves, right? As you get older, you have to have your standards, your ethics, or for your own best interests and stuff long term. And especially for our children's children, it's important. Have you seen this? So, a Nigerian man builds a virtual classroom to teach his students, so to actually try and, because I believe COVID's real, bro. I believe that. I have friends that have family members that have gotten sick, got better, got sick again. I have friends parents that have died. I have my family's lawyer, her whole family, like, it's not fake. It's not fake. I mean, look what just happened with Herman Cain.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Sitting there purposely going to this thing, not wearing a mask, doing all those posts online, mocking
it, and now look.
But isn't that the irony? I mean, I must have seen at least 20 examples of people mocking this epidemic, this pandemic.
Yeah.
And then some weird cosmic, like, they catch a cold one real quick.
Yeah. That's really like crazy, like most ironic thing that happened. Like, people got videos of him, dancing without the mask on, and
so sad.
Seeing tweets of like, I don't wear a mask. It's like,
there'll never be a second wave, which I believe for him and the people like him shows such a negligence as a leader, because if you're putting out that narrative, that everyone, like, it's just like right now. I mean, on some family stuff outside of business, as your brother, bro, if all of a sudden Coachella was tonight and they were like, yo, go, I would probably look at you and be like, yo, family.
No, I wouldn't go.
Nah, bro. Like, yo, and if we do go, we're going and getting industrial germ, like I'm talking about like the full on wartime viral mask with the A, because otherwise I think that it's a bad example for the children. It's a bad. Now, I'm not talking about that there aren't other things that are going on in this world that are with COVID that are part of the story that complicate the issue.
Yeah.
Of course, there's 500 other things that are going on that are a part of this pandemic that come into issues as feasible issues, but just to say, it's just like a common cold.
No, you're not just dying.
I've had people look at me and say that.
Yeah.
What are you tripping on? You know, and hey, I am a big believer of that mentality of that a healthy immune system and putting good things in your body and living a healthy lifestyle contributes to a healthy immune system and protecting against these things. That being said, I also come from where my father is an environmental management consultant that does management of environmental disasters, whether it be mold, asbestos, lead, and environmental containment. And exposure is exposure.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like everybody needs to be healthy, you know, like definitely boost your immune system, but don't be stupid and go out there and try to catch it. Like, don't be reckless, you know, like being reckless is like not smart in any situation, you know, whether it's COVID, it's just how you deal with people. Just don't be reckless. Like, don't think you're so high and mighty that, yeah, it's not real. I'm not going to catch it.
Well, there's that part of it, which I think is a big part of the dialogue. And then I think there's the flip side of the dialogue of the people in power that don't care. And it's because they're not getting their paper and they're up on the totem pole. They don't care for bottom of the totem pole. They're like, yo, your worker bee, get back at it. And if it's just a casualty of war,
hey, it's just casual wear. Yeah, that's exactly how they're looking at it.
You know, they're not the ones out there in
September. That like it's like a legislation that's supposed to pass in September. That like if they don't pass this, then they're gonna start just everybody's have to go back to like normal life, which that's not gonna happen. You know, but then it's gonna be like serious detriment. Like people are gonna be really losing their jobs and you know,
it's already there, bro. People are losing their jobs, losing their homes,
yeah,
losing their everything. I think we're already there. I think we're kind of we're at critical mass. We're at the cusp. I mean, how about this? I would say that with most people that I know, that was right out the gate the first week. They were already living paycheck, you know, that they needed to go out and work day to day to figure it out the next day.
Yeah, really.
I mean, not saying that's everyone and not everyone is that position, but this has changed everything.
Yeah.
You know, it just people need to get, and that's the finding that, like you said, finding the balance. It's scary, you know, it's definitely scary to think that okay, so we touched on this a little bit. So we were touched on this earlier.
Right, yeah.
So you've actually ran into some, and I mean, it's real stuff, and people, and hey,
it's crazy.
Now, question: have you ever gone to China to perform?
Yeah, I've been in China.
What was that like?
China was very different. You know, it was very controlled. You know, I couldn't get on Google. I couldn't call home. I had to like buy a burner phone to call home. You know, they got it pretty locked down there. You know, like, they have the internet like that. They have like WeChat. You know, that's like something that they use. You know, but it's very, very tight there. You know, I went to Seoul, and that's more Americanized. Very
Korea.
Western.
You said you went from
Seoul,
China
Korea.
to Korea.
Yeah, but out in like I went to.
Now, when you went to China, like before out the gate, where like was your team like kind of like, yo?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, yo, this could go south real quick. You can't say anything about anything.
Don't think about smoking the weed. Don't think about going out. I mean, you could go out and hang out, but don't do nothing stupid. You know, like think about what you're doing. You know, but yeah, we went to Beijing. Beijing's different. Went to Shanghai. Two different places. You know, like Shanghai is more like a it's a big city, but it just looks different. The culture's different, Um, it's crazy, man. It's like it's definitely a crazy language barrier, but just
But people still going nuts for the music like they said.
well, yeah, they
Because
are.
I definitely think that like a lot of my friends, especially that their albums did really good in Japan and stuff, like people in Japan go nuts. They know the lyrics even though they
Yeah,
don't speak
yeah,
English.
yeah.
Was that the same thing in China? Like, because I also think that me and my dad were talking about this last night. It seems like a lot of times international crowds a lot different than American crowds.
Man, it'd be crazy. It's a crazy crowd when you're performing. But as soon as you're not performing, they're like, man, fuck you. It's not like here in America, like celebrity feeling. They're like, oh yeah, I like your song, but I don't care about who you are.
Really, because that's interesting. Because my friend just went to China with his family, and he
Uh,
said that, and he's not famous, but he said everywhere he went, they thought he was famous, and they would like line up, and that they wanted to get his autograph.
okay, yeah. Now they do that, and if it's like they think you're famous, like it's like two different things. They either think you're famous and act like you're famous, or don't even
Right.
come over here.
It's the
Yeah,
dichotomy of
it's not
the.
like a medium. It's not like a medium. It's like hot or cold. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It's crazy though. Like Tokyo was cool. Though. Tokyo was like really cool.
Oh yeah, I've had some
China.
friends that have done some shows
Okay,
like at
let
the
me say.
Liquid
I say
Room and
like
stuff.
this.
They say it's insane.
China.
Different vibe.
I I could never go back to China again in my life and be all right.
Especially with what everything that's going on with the protests right now and the democracy stuff.
Just even if it was completely normal, and I'd be like, yeah, listen, I don't have to come back here. It was that different.
Well, it's very see. This is the interesting thing is that I have a really close friend from church
Mm-hmm.
who is from Hong Kong,
Okay.
and we were just talking about this, and I'm like, oh well, it's pretty interesting seeing this whole entire Black Lives Matter movement, the protest. You must relate to it with all the protests going on in Hong Kong
Mm-hmm.
and people fighting for their democracy.
Yeah.
And he gives me the blankest look at it, on his face, and he goes, "No, not really." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Keith, here they might shoot you with a rubber bullet, they might write you a ticket, they might arrest you." He's like, in Hong Kong, you go out and protest, they grab you, they go putting you in the back of a room, they shoot you in the head, or they throw you in a labor camp for the rest of your life, and you're as good as dead. He goes, it's not the same, bro. He goes, I hear what you're saying, and it just kind of made me go full circle and kind of just think about it like,
Yeah.
it's just like right now with my friend in Iran. They can't leave. Most amazing people on earth. My friends in Palestine, they're prisoners there. They can't even leave. It's so unfair because you have these great people, great Chinese people, great Iranian people, great people everywhere. But bad situation and just, I mean, that's scary, man. That if you, because like it was hard enough for me going out to these protests and having the feelings of like, okay, yo, is this going to, like, when I went, I was like, okay, I was very much prepared that this was going to possibly go south real bad, and that possibly the cops were going to try and that I didn't know from place to place exactly what the setup was going to be or what the vibe was going to be. Mm-hmm. But and now you're seeing it with going with these. So I guess we're seeing shadows of that here now with federal agents running, swooping people up, throwing them up in the, I mean, that is like straight, as a Jew, like, yo, that is some straight Gestapo SSS stuff. Like, that is not cool. You shouldn't, that even in the worst civil rights stuff, the cops were still identified, and they could identify who the cop was that was doing it. Now, whether there be consequences and everything, but at least you can identify.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we're at. I think that's where we either, as a society, decide we're going to support legislation and get the people in there that'll pass the legislation that stop these type of things and protect us from these type of things, or we see where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's not going to stop unless there's some level of accountability.
Exactly. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
What's this, King?
I was one of the mixes I did. Like, I like Mixcloud. Mixcloud is cool. So I could put a mix out on Mixcloud.
Mixcloud.
It's not like they're cutting me off or censoring me anyway. I could kind of do whatever you want. That was one of my first ones I put out. And it had a lot of numbers. It had like 3,000 plays. So it was like, that was really cool.
So, yeah, I love Mixcloud. Yeah, I definitely. It's nice to.
I was gonna do one every week, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do it every week, but it's cool. I still do them.
Right. Hey, well, as many as you can.
So, okay. You see this picture right here, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the stage.
That from behind. The background.
Background stage. That was the before. This is the after.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Man, like if you focus on one person, man, you'd be like, wow, these people are wilding out.
So last thing, this artwork. That's beautiful. That's dope, bro. Like who did that?
Wow, okay. So my friend, his name is Everett, and the Michael Eric Dyson wrote a book about Jay-Z.
No, okay, but
and my friend Everett finds out that he's related to Michael Eric Dyson. It's his father's brother, and they connect, and they let him do the illustration of. He draws a lot. He's like an artist, and he did the illustration inside of Jay-Z's book that Michael Eric Dyson wrote. And I thought it was cool. He's like, "Yo, man, you're my boy." He did that for me.
That's so tight, bro.
Yeah. He did that for me. He took a picture.
You got to get that blown up into like
a picture, and he did it. And I was like, "Oh man!"
In fact, I got you. I might be able to figure that out for you and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, "That's cool, man. He's a good dude." If you like Google the book, you will be able to. You can look at it and see like, oh, the same person that did this, same person that did that. Drew it almost exact replica, just me instead of Jay-Z.
No, that thing's so dope, bro. I mean, to me, the artwork and all that type of stuff. I mean, with the music,
yeah,
that was always a big thing for me with DJing is the artwork on the albums and stuff. Yeah. Where was the picture? I mean, I think when I first started, a lot of times I didn't even know what was on the album. I was just looking for a cool cover to kind of feel like the universe.
Everything meshes together, man. It all makes sense. Like I used to look at covers like that too. Like, man, look at this album cover. It's crazy. Like one of my favorite album covers is probably Only Built for Cuban Links. And it wasn't that. It was more of all the colors that you saw. They were back there, the Wallabies. You got Ghostface and Raekwon. It's like, oh man, this shit. And then you got how it's written out. I'm like, oh man, this shit is fucking sweet. Like this is nice. The purple tape.
Oh yeah, and I used to love Outkast Aquemini.
Oh yeah. They had there was a.
You mentioned Outkast earlier. I mean that. Did you ever get to see them live?
No, I've seen them perform separately, but I've never seen them perform together.
I always thought that they were one of the dopest bands, dopest artists, collaborations of all time. I mean,
hell yeah.
Outkast, for as far as hip hop, for me,
man,
one of the Andre 3000's verses, you know, just some of them, just the projects, just everything from beginning to end. They were just so artistic and just so. They were up there with like Tribe Called Quest for me and stuff and everything. You know, just some of
they're like a southern version of like a Tribe or like a, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, me, Outkast, even the outshoots of CeeLo, Goody Mob.
Man, all Goody Mob.
Goody Mob, they had some tracks, bro. Like, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. Cujo, he's got some stuff coming out, man. It's pretty dope. Cujo Goody.
Royce has got some dope fire too, bro. Royce has got flow, bro.
Oh yeah. Royce definitely got some fire. Royce,
and he's tied in with Eminem, right? Like they
oh yeah,
they've done a bunch of collaborations too, right? There was a tour. I thought I saw some of the stuff for the tour together and stuff.
Yeah. I've been on a couple tours with him. You know, they're good friends. They're like best friends, man. Like they really came up together. Like in Detroit, when M first came out, it was a debate: who's better, M or Royce?
Really?
You know? Yeah, it was like that was it. You know, who's better, M or Royce? You know.
See, I never really was an Eminem fan, man. And then like I used to always be like, "Yo, bro, I'm not really feeling Homeboy with the performance I would see." And then Ronald Fenty, Rihanna's dad, is the homie. And one night he's like, "Yo, Robin's playing with Eminem tonight at the Rose Bowl. You want to come see the show?" And I'm like, I guess I'll see it, to see what this is. And I was blown away, man. He came out with D12 and he had his crew and he had his band and his live show was sick. And it was some real, like, he really is talented, man. I really was blown away by his live show. And like,
he's undeniably talented.
And I was kind of thrown back by it. I was kind of humbled by it. I was like, whoa. I was like, Marshall's pretty dope. He's got it, like, going back to the authenticism. When him and his boys he was bringing his whole crew out and they were all like, like, I was like, oh. And the one thing that for me, that was the hardest part was I met Proof back in the day. And Proof was so nice to me. Proof was one of the only guys in hip hop before he died that didn't treat me like the corny white boy. Like he would always call me back and respond to my text, where when I met him, he was really down to earth, which was, really nice. Proof was a real dude. Like Proof was really a really nice guy. And from the limited amount of experience, I'm just saying, but just as a dude that was at a show and I meet him and him being down to earth and humble and actually communicating,
Man, Proof was a really good guy.
Right, yeah, and he had some cool stuff, man. And I guess he was a big part of that whole entire.
He really did put everything together.
Interesting. So he was definitely the backbone of mapping all that whole entire together. Then.
Yeah.
I felt that in his energy that he was kind of the quarterback. Just kind of believed in it. Probably believed in it before anyone else believed in it or saw it.
Yeah, he believed in him before anybody else did.
Right, and that probably was not an easy pitch in detail.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. So so you working on anything right now that, as far as like, any new beats or any new?
I'm definitely making beats. I want to start putting the mixtape together, just put one together, man, get some work, get a body of work out there that has my stamp on it, and just start from there and keep it moving, keep going.
You got to definitely do a track together, as far as like, just like, let's get a new instrumental together and just whatever
we
do with it. You know, let's do like a Dilla tribute or something. Like let's do
great. That's good.
You know what I mean? Like let's just, you know, like kind of I did some shows with Illa J. Yeah, me and Illa J did a couple shows and stuff and everything. He was a cool kid.
Yeah, he's really cool, man.
You know,
Illa J is dope.
It's crazy how, you know, the spirit of Dilla lives on, man. You know, that's the day how donuts and just how much respect in hip hop he still gets, you know?
Yeah. Dutch Girl Good Donuts is still out here too, man, representing them, you know? That's where he used to get his donuts from.
Okay, so that's what the whole entire Dilla Donuts thing is?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's because there was a donut shop in Detroit that he used to go.
That was 24 hours, had donuts this big.
Really? So that's the story behind it?
Yeah. And they're not like open right now because of all of this going on, but
right.
Yeah. Dutch Girl Donuts. Ooh. Right off Woodward.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. That sounds like family business.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. It's family business, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. That's great, man. Well, you know, bro, I appreciate you doing this. Man. I mean, I can't even express in words how humbled and thankful I am.
Man, anytime, bro. I'm sorry it took so long to get it together, you know.
Hey, bro, you're episode 3. I didn't end up doing anything. I did one episode like 2 years ago with my friend from USC, and then I did Qbert a couple of days on July 25th for Life in a Day with the YouTube thing.
Oh, that's sweet.
Your episode 3. This is all going up on iTunes and distributed through Spotify and all the streaming stuff. And then supposedly Akil from Jurassic 5 is going to be our next guest.
Oh, that's sweet, man. That's dope.
Then, just...
You got all the nice people out there, man. All the...
I just, one of the reasons I'm trying to reach out to the people that I feel are real in the game. You know, that the people that I value more than money, that I think they're in this for, that was one of the reasons I reached out to you, bro, is because, you were just always so at every show, so nice to me. And just, ever since I met you, just always had so much love and respect, which, just means a lot to me, fam.
Yeah. Man, anything you need, let me know. You know I got you. Especially when these shows come up and it's like, oh man, I'm here, Once I'm there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, hey, grace of God that we could get back out and get you back on the road.
Yeah, hopefully this disappears, as quick as it came.
Yeah, and I got some new tracks coming out, bro. I got like 4 or 5 singles coming out that I think are Nas, If I Ruled the World type level, Fuji's type level tracks. J. Cole, like I think a couple of these new tracks, bro, I think are special exhibit type level, like just
sweet.
Just I keep it's like I'm in the studio and I'm putting the final touches on it, and I keep having visions of like crowds with like 500,000 people and just be like, because it's just I'm so. How can I put it? Like, it's one of my first tracks where I just feel like the James Brown, where I'm just like, ooh, like, oh, this is gonna be me. I just gotta get out there and like, ooh, I don't care if like I want Jay to be there, because I think Jay would be like, ooh, like that, like, and that's where like with the music right now I'm trying to get back to is just that Jimi Hendrix, just like, this is as raw, this is just speaks to truth, the power. And that was the reason I approached you for this, because everything that I see you working on and you've always been speaks that truth, the power. So I wanted to show you that respect, man.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. So I appreciate it, man.
Definitely.
This was fun. I like the questions, everything, man.
No, definitely. I appreciate it. I'm happy you enjoyed it. I definitely, I hope many years from now, I'm on episode 2000 and me and you like, I go, hey, remember when you were episode 3, bro?
Yeah, it'd be dope.
Game changer, like, you know, like our kid.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I said that to Qbert the other day. This is for our grandchildren's you know, whether who knows what's going to happen, but I wanted to archive us and our culture at this time and represent so the whole entire world could see who we are. And I just felt that like Funk Flex, you know, Funk Master Flex, or the icons of hip hop Premier, you should be up there, bro. And anything that I could do to promote your art and promote everything that you're working on, bro, I'm here, fam. So that's why I reached out, and
absolutely
thank you for being on Equality Radio.
All right, bro.
When I get all this edited up and bada bing bada boom and put it live, I'll get you the links ASAP.
Bet. All right. Sweet. Good talking to you, bro.
All right, fam, bam. Well, much love, and I will talk to you, and I hope I see you soon, fam.
Definitely. You definitely see me soon. Soon as first availability, man. You know, we're hitting the road.
So last question. So King Divine. So, you know, DJTJTheKing, King Divine. Explain all that. Explain that for everyone.
So, I am a 5%er, you know, and my righteous name is King Divine Understanding Allah, you know. So that's why you have DJTJTheKing, you know. I shorten it up, you know. So King Divine is just what I go by as my righteous name, you know.
So like Cassius Clay was Muhammad Ali. That's your
Yep. But people I don't like, you know, because King almost sounds kind of I don't want to say arrogant, but most people just call me Divine, you know. People know, like, oh yeah, that's Divine, you know. And sometimes you'll see me with things that say Divine on it, but people don't ever put it together, you know. Like nobody's ever asked me that. Like, where does the King come from?
So where does it come from?
You know.
So it's just so did you pick that name, or did someone give you that name?
That's a King. Yeah, given. You know, like it's like an attribute of my righteous name, because I go by DJTJ. Everybody calls me TJ, you know. But
well, you know, that's me. I'm Keith Thomas Jordan, and my dad's Tom Jordan, so I've been TJ. You know.
Oh yeah, okay. So yes, so, King is just one who knows, you know. So I don't look at a king as being like a European king with, like, you know, castle and
right.
You know, it's more of a state of mind, because a king is somebody who is looked to up as a ruler. So it's almost more of a responsibility, right? Because you have to measure up to be a certain thing. You know what I mean? Act as one. Because if you don't act like one, you could say a king wouldn't do something like that. You know?
I think you know what they say, the old Italian saying. Heavy is the head. Yeah. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Exactly. And I would say this, you know, it's like I have, like, one of my things is one of my projects was called The Servant King, because I think that, like, all the prophets were kings but servants, you know, and we have, as an obligation, as a leader, a higher responsibility. And how about this, as your brother, I definitely say you are a king fan, you know.
Oh, thank you. You are as well,
you know. And they, I think that
we both even see eye to eye on a lot of things, mutual respect.
And that's divine, bro. That is so divine. That's so amazing. And we'll leave it at that note. So, King Divine, stay proper, Quality Radio. I get a shout out for Quality Radio right now.
Oh yeah, shout out to Equality Radio, DJ Proper.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
All right, fam, bam. All love. I'll talk to you soon, fam.
Peace, bro.
I'll get you this ASAP, man.
Yep.
I hate a liar, I hate the flaws. I love the water, I love my fam. I love the light that lets me know who I am. They wanna see us fail, they wanna see us fall. Taught to kill a hog, roar till the wheels fall off. Never give up, fight back, never surrender. Only trust in God, people have their own agenda. I know the last time I've seen the sunshine, my future's so bright, I had to close my eyes, just want a little shine. I have a little time, just to ease my mind. Then comes the big surprise, either bad or good, either good or bad. It don't matter, just handle it like a man. Stand on your own too when it hits the fan.